debate about life and death continues. The commission appointed by the president concludes that intelligence on weapons of mass destruction in Iraq was dead wrong and one of the most damaging intelligence failures in U.S. history. Did you know that your car may have a black box that records data about your driving? It can now be used in court. And make nice for the camera? Not this time. Britain's Prince Charles tells reporters he hates them.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight, Bob Woodruff.
Good evening, everyone. There is a lot of news in the U.S. and around the world tonight, and we start at the Vatican, where late this afternoon, officials said that the Pope now has an infection and a high fever. Just yesterday, he was given a feeding tube because he was having trouble getting enough food. At 84 years old with Parkinson's disease as well, it is a lot of stress for the body. ABC's David Wright is in Rome tonight at the Vatican City. David, we have heard this many times before, medical scares like this with the Pope. In this case, do you get the sense that it's much more serious?
Well, Bob, it's well past midnight here in Rome, and for the Vatican itself to confirm this situation at this hour is itself a sign that they are taking this very seriously. A deputy Vatican spokesman talked with ABC News a short while ago. He told us that the Pope's fever developed this morning. He was treated with antibiotics this afternoon, but it's not yet clear whether he's responding to those. And technically now his condition is listed as stable but serious.
There was one report, David, out of Italy, I believe, that said that the Pope actually received last rites. Anything to that?
Italian news agencies are reporting that the Pope received what used to be known as last rites, known now as the sacraments for the infirm. Not in itself a sign that he is at death's door, although it does sound very ominous. It should be noted, however, that the Pope has received the extreme unction once before in 1981 after that assassination attempt. So this may just be, if it's true, a precautionary measure.
Thank you, David. David Wright at Vatican City tonight. Our medical editor at ABC's Tim Johnson joins us now. Dr. Tim, this combination of having Parkinson's disease, tracheotomy, a feeding tube, and now a high fever and an infection, medically very worrisome to you?
Well, obviously, all of those conditions contribute to his overall weakness. However, urinary tract infections are very common in people of all ages, of all health conditions. So in and of itself, it could turn out to be a temporary bump in the road. Obviously, overall, the Parkinson's will only get worse.
Now, in most cases for these kinds of infections, do the antibiotics work?
Oh, absolutely. The majority of people treated with antibiotics survive and respond to the antibiotics, but some don't. And we will know within the next 24 to 48 hours what his situation will be.
All right, Dr. Tim Johnson, ABC's medical editor. Many thanks. As many of you may have heard, Terri Schiavo died today. When it happened this morning, nearly 2 weeks after her feeding tube was removed, President Bush expressed his hope that her death will encourage a culture of life where all Americans are protected, especially those who live at the mercy of others. At the Vatican in Rome, a high-ranking cardinal called the decision to allow her to die an attack against God. An attorney for Mrs. Schiavo's husband said his goal had been to give her a peaceful death with dignity. Our first report tonight from ABC's Mike Von Fremd.
After 5 years in this hospice and after 7 years of bitter fighting over her condition and treatment, Terri Schiavo died quietly this morning.
She died at approximately 9 a.m. Her husband was present by her bed, cradling her.
Her body was moved in an unmarked van with a police escort to the county medical examiner's office, where it will undergo an autopsy.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Protesters who wanted her feeding tube reinserted grieved.
It's hard to comprehend that we just starved someone to death.
Right now, I'm not very proud to be an American.
While those outside were holding prayer services, snipers stood ready on rooftops because of numerous threats. This afternoon, Michael Schiavo's attorney described her death as calm and peaceful.
Mr. Schiavo's overriding concern here was to provide for Terri a peaceful death with dignity. This death was not for the siblings and not for the spouse and not for the parents. This was this was for Terry.
Although her brother and sister are very upset they were not permitted at her side at the moment of death, this afternoon they called for reconciliation.
Following the example of the Lord Jesus, our family abhors any violence or any threats of violence. Threatening words dishonor our family, our faith, and our sister Terry.
Terry, we love you dearly, but we know that God loves you more than we do. We must accept your untimely death as God's will.
The family is still at odds over what to do with her remains. Michael Schiavo, who remained silent today, has plans to have her cremated and buried in this cemetery near Philadelphia. Her parents want Terry Schiavo's body left intact and buried near their home in a Catholic cemetery near St. Petersburg. Though the body will be ready for cremation in 24 hours, the medical examiner will not have results of the autopsy for a month. Both sides have a stake in the outcome. The Schindlers want to prove that Terry Schiavo was not in a vegetative state. Michael Schiavo wants the world to know the extent of his wife's brain damage.
Now, this tragedy has resulted in more than 40 petitions and appeals before the courts. It is now the longest right-to-die case in American history. Terry Schiavo's ordeal has split both a family and a country. Bob?
Thank you, Mike Von Fremden, Florida this evening. So many people in this country know Terry Schiavo simply through the pictures that were taken years ago after the episode that left her so severely disabled. But who was she before all that? Peter Jennings takes a look back.
By all accounts, Terry Schiavo was a shy girl. She grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia and went to Catholic school. She had two younger siblings, Bobby and Suzanne. Her family says she liked romance novels with happy endings, and she had a sense of humor.
The thing I love about Terry, and I'm going to hear this again, is her laugh. She has the greatest laugh.
She's a very warm person. I mean, 5 minutes with Terry, you're hooked. That's just the kind of person she was.
According to her parents, Terry was very overweight as a teenager. In her senior year of high school, she was 5'3" and 200 pounds. She lost 100 pounds, enrolled in community college, and married the first man she dated, Michael Schiavo. She had this presence, this aura, he said, shy but outgoing at the same time. When the couple moved to Florida, Terry's family followed. Michael managed a restaurant. She got a job at an insurance company. Sometime later, in an official history of her condition, a court reporter wrote, Terry lost more weight and was proud of how slim she had become. She and Michael tried to have children. They were not successful. If she had an eating disorder, her family and her husband say they did not know it or realize it until one day, at the age of 26, her heart stopped.
Terry Schiavo, the person. The Terry Schiavo case has already had a profound effect on many people in this country. Many people around the world have also paid close attention. The debates today were controversial and emotional, and at times, somewhat angry. Here's ABC's Jake Tapper.
Terry Schiavo prompted heated debate in life and now in death. In Texas today, House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, who led the charge to get Congress involved, said he would hold those responsible for Schiavo's death accountable.
The legal system failed Terry Schiavo.
In an interview with ABC News, DeLay faulted the courts for turning a deaf ear to Schiavo's parents' attempts to have her feeding tube reinserted.
We have arrogant, out-of-control, unaccountable judges that looked at the law and had no mercy.
The House Democratic leader criticized Republicans for pushing Congress to interfere in a family matter.
In this very personal decision that families have to make that is very painful, what business is it of the Congress of the United States?
Talk radio hosts fumed.
There's no other way to describe what happened today. The U.S. judiciary forced the killing of an innocent American by virtue of torture.
The Vatican called her death immoral.
Denying the nutrition has been converted in a death sentence.
Other religious leaders asked what lessons society might learn from it all.
A personal journey has forced the nation to confront fundamental personal, ethical, and legal issues.
Issues brought to the forefront by this case, living wills and the roles of the courts and Congress, among others, will likely be passionately debated in this country for years to come. Jake Tapper, ABC News, Washington.
That debate, no doubt, just beginning. And when we come back, a presidential panel says most of the intelligence about Iraq was dead wrong. The black boxes in cars that record your speed and seatbelt use, you may not know your car has one. And Britain's Prince Charles has nasty words for the media. Did he know that the mic was on?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Aleve.
Good news for those with arthritis pain. Reports are out about an independent government panel, according to the New York Times.
Several panel members said that patients in need of pain relief should first try naproxen, sold as Aleve.
Forbes.com says
the committee considered naproxen to be the safest NSAID from a cardiovascular standpoint.
Dow Jones Newswires writes, one member said,
naproxen is probably one of the safer pain medications on the market.
Ask your doctor about the good news. Ask your doctor about Aleve.
Heartburn on rye.
That's more than heartburn. That pressure and bloating is gas.
And we don't treat gas.
I do. Fast heartburn plus gas relief. That's Maalox Max.
Thanks, Max.
Maalox Max. When you have it all, treat it all.
How fast can Alivert start treating an allergy here?
This fast.
And here?
This fast.
Alivert dissolves fast without water. Get non-drowsy allergy relief without a prescription. Alivert, right when you need it, wherever you are.
Burning, itching, but the pain's the worst. I should have used
new Preparation H cream. Burning, itching, plus maximum strength pain relief on contact. The most complete Preparation H relief ever. New Preparation H cream. Pain relief on contact.
Who can grow a spectacular garden? Now, everyone can. With Miracle Grow Shake and Feed plant food. A few shakes is all it takes to feed plants continuously for up to 3 full months. The perfect food, the right amount. It's the mistake-proof way to grow plants twice as big. Guaranteed. You don't have to be a great gardener to have a great garden. All you need is Shake and Feed.
When you're congested, mucus can settle into your chest.
I love moving in day.
Nice try, but I'm not going nowhere. That's when you need Mucinex. Mucinex is specially made to break up the mucus that causes congestion.
Uh-oh. There goes the neighborhood!
That's better. And one Mucinex pill lasts up to 12 hours.
Hey, got any room at your place?
Mucinex in, mucus out.
Got gas, pressure, bloating? Tums doesn't treat gas. To treat gas, use Gas-X. For fast, powerful relief.
Popcorn?
Ooh. Gas-X beats the bloat, and acids don't.
The commission appointed by President Bush to investigate the intelligence he used to justify the invasion of Iraq issued its final report today. The verdict was harsh and unsparing. The report said U.S. intelligence agencies were, quote, dead wrong in nearly all of its pre-war judgments about Saddam Hussein. Here's ABC's White House correspondent, Terry Moran.
The new report is a blistering indictment of virtually the entire intelligence community, calling U.S. analysis of pre-war Iraq and other matters nearly worthless, dead wrong, inexcusable, and an egregious failure.
I think we just wanted to be accurate.
On Iraq, the commission found that the U.S. had no fresh intelligence on Iraq's weapons programs after 1998, when UN weapons inspectors left the country. U.S. intelligence officials failed to question their bedrock assumption that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and they even dismissed evidence that contradicted it, and that the U.S. had only a handful of spies in Iraq, and they were not credible. This deeply flawed intelligence was the basis for the administration's alarming and false case for war.
The Iraqi regime possesses biological and chemical weapons.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
The source for some of the most explosive charges, the report says, was a single informant, codenamed Curveball, described by German intelligence officials as crazy and a likely fabricator. Curveball was the only source for the allegation Colin Powell made at the UN that Iraq had mobile biological weapons labs. Powell was never told of the German concerns.
We have first-hand descriptions of biological weapons factories on wheels and on rails.
The report also clears the Bush administration of a damning charge. The commission found no evidence that the intelligence on Iraq had been politicized.
If somebody has
a member of the intelligence community that can say to us, we changed our analysis based on a request or demand, or we believe we were improperly influenced to change it, we haven't heard from them.
Instead, the problem was a rigid mindset.
The intelligence community has found it very difficult to say, gee, we don't know. Instead of saying we're 90% sure that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, they should have said, we really don't have very much evidence. We guess this, but we really don't know.
As for current threats on al-Qaeda, the report says there are critical intelligence gaps about the terrorist group's weapons of mass destruction capabilities. And on Iran and North Korea's weapons programs, the Commission's findings were classified, except to say the U.S. has only limited access to critical information about these countries.
Now, in this 700-page report, the Commission makes more than 70 recommendations, from giving the new Director of National Intelligence strong powers to reforming the FBI. If those recommendations sound familiar, it's because they are. One thing, Bob, the panel says that U.S. intelligence has been very good at for years is resisting change.
Thank you, Terry. Terry Moran at the White House tonight. One more note on Iraq. The military said today that 3 more U.S. troops have been killed in Iraq. That brings the number of U.S. military deaths in Iraq to 33 this month, the lowest monthly toll since February 2004. 5 Iraqis were also killed and 16 were injured in a suicide bombing south of Kirkuk. The blast targeted an Iraqi army checkpoint protecting Shiite Muslim pilgrims who were celebrating a religious festival. When we come back, the data recorder in your car and the information it is collecting on your driving.
This allergy season, ask your doctor about something different. Singulair. While many seasonal allergy medicines block histamine, Singulair works differently by blocking leukotrienes, an underlying cause of seasonal allergy symptoms. And one prescription Singulair helps relieve a broad range of seasonal allergy symptoms for a full 24 hours. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age, and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Singulair, a different way to treat seasonal allergies.
A funny thing happens when your body doesn't sleep at night. Your mind zones out during the day. It's like going through life on autopilot, out of sync with the world around you. To help you sleep, there's Ambien, the #1 prescribed sleep aid in America. Ambien helps you fall asleep fast and stay asleep longer, so you wake up refreshed, not groggy. Until you know how Ambien will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Side effects may include drowsiness, dizziness, and diarrhea. You shouldn't take it with alcohol. All people taking sleep medicines have some risk of becoming dependent on the medicine. Prescription sleep aids are most often taken for 7 to 10 days as needed, or longer as advised by your doctor. Memory problems can usually be avoided by taking Ambien only when you can devote 7 to 8 hours to sleep. Talk to your doctor about Ambien. Ambien works like a dream.
From day one, I've always been proud of the company that I work for. And man, when I found out they were coming to my hometown, I had to be a part of that. I think a good member of the community is someone who's willing to give back, and my job lets me do that. We want everybody in town to succeed, and that's just part of the culture at Walmart. I get to be a part of this community, and I love that about my job. I feel really fortunate to be working in my hometown and working for Walmart. I'm Blaine, and my Walmart is in Richfield, Utah.
Denture wearers, we stained a string of pearls in barbecue sauce, not just to prove the stain-removing strength of Efferdent Plus or the freshening power of its Listerine ingredients, but to give every denture wearer the confidence to show those pearly whites. The confident clean of Efferdent Plus.
What if we replaced everyone's chalky antacid with new Rolaids Soft Chews?
Chewy, not chalky.
And they neutralize 56% more acid than Tums. Could we really replace everyone's antacid?
You just replaced mine.
Try new extra strength Rolaids Soft Chews.
Raw, wild, stunning, and powerful. The Siberian tiger, now the first tiger ever fitted with a radio collar. The world-famous Olga. She's been watched for years, her every move tracked. So how did she simply vanish? Tomorrow, don't miss World News Tonight.
ABC News has learned that President Clinton's former national security advisor, Sandy Berger, is expected to plead guilty tomorrow to mishandling classified information. He's accused of taking documents from the National Archives when he was preparing to testify before the 9/11 Commission. Berger says it was an honest mistake He faces a fine, but likely no jail time. There is word of an eerie warning from the mother of Brian Nichols, the suspect in last month's courthouse killing spree in Atlanta. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the sheriff's department got an email weeks before the rampage saying that Nichols might, quote, try to act out in court and take someone's weapon. He's accused of doing just that and killing 4 people. You might not know this, but your car may have a black box that keeps track of your driving. 30 million cars have the data recorders, and now in what's apparently the first ruling of its kind, a court says information from that black box can be used against you in court. Here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
Increasingly, technology in automobiles can help determine what happened in an accident. Over 65% of new cars have black boxes. They work with sensors tied to the airbag system and can record speed, seatbelt use, and braking.
Well, we're able to tell the speed 5 seconds before the impact.
Florida prosecutor Michael Horowitz showed the driver of this car, Edwin Matos, was going over 100 miles an hour when he slammed into this vehicle with 2 teenage girls. They died. A jury convicted Matos, who is serving 30 years. The appeals court let the black box evidence stand.
This data and this information is going to be used in traffic homicide investigations, and now there's precedent, legal precedent, that says that it can be used.
Attorneys on the other side argued the information is not reliable enough to be used as evidence.
If any item is modified on the vehicle, including even something as little as the size of the tires, that can affect the accuracy of the reading in the black box.
There are also privacy concerns. Should drivers own the rights to their black box data?
It's like, Big Brother in the back seat. Your driving habits are being recorded, and that information can be used against you. 14
states are considering laws informing drivers if their car has a black box, requiring a court order or owner's permission to get the data. Only California already does that, leaving this new technology largely unregulated. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
Some major news from inside our own house tonight. Ted Koppel announced today that after 42 years at ABC and 25 years as anchor of Nightline, he will be leaving ABC News in December. He doesn't know where he's going, but he told me this afternoon retirement is just not an option. Ted's longtime collaborator and producer Tom Battag is also leaving. 2 of the best newsmen this country has ever known. And we'll be back in a moment with the Prince and the Press.
To keep things fresh in the freezer, use new Glad Press and Seal Freezer Wrap. It seals air out, so freshness stays in, because it's the only wrap that seals when you press it to get more air out than freezer bags. New Glad Press and Seal Freezer Wrap. For freshness in the freezer, get Glad.
Share the love. Spread the sweetness.
Splenda's the no-calorie sweetener made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. Almost anywhere you use sugar, you can use Splenda.
Introducing Ortho Weed B Gon Max. So revolutionary, it targets and kills the toughest weeds without harming your lawn. Weed B Gon Max sprayed here. Ordinary weed killer here. Only Weed B Gon Max has a foaming action and weed targeting formula for total root kill. So it killed the weeds, but not the grass. The ordinary weed killer didn't target anything, so it killed everything. New Ortho Weed B Gon Max kills weeds, not lawns, guaranteed.
Women. They want to be strong and sweet forever. And they want to enjoy their calcium. One delicious Viactive Soft Calcium Chew twice a day has the calcium women need. Viactive. It's what women want.
It's allergy season, Mole. Time to choose an allergy medicine.
Pick one of those. You could be suffering again in 6 hours.
Oh no, Allegra 180!
It lasts 4 times longer.
Why would I even consider those others?
One dose of most OTC allergy medicines may not last as long as you want, but just one Allegra 180 lasts up to 4 times longer than one dose of most OTC allergy medicines.
Long-lasting Allegra is still working.
For people 12 and over, side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or backache.
Allegra works around the clock.
Long-lasting Allegra. The relief goes on.
Oh, I miss it here, don't you? Oh, it looks so good. Try the scampi.
Magnifique. Oh, we know. We used to be regulars.
Used to?
Frequent heartburn, no matter what.
He's no fun anymore.
Well, Prilosec OTC. Prilosec OTC? Look, it's the only OTC that directly shuts down lots of those acid-producing pumps in your stomach. Oh, yeah? Yeah. That's why it's the only OTC that can work for 24 hours.
With one pill a day. Hey, we could have fun again.
Bingo.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
Over 21 million watch the premiere.
Yes!
Grey's Anatomy gets 4 stars. You'll love the show.
I'm not going out with you.
It has heart and brains. A winner that's entertaining and addictive. An all-new Grey's Anatomy Sunday 10/9 Central, only on ABC.
How could this happen? Hundreds go in for a common medical test. Then they get a call from the hospital that they need to come back for an HIV or hepatitis test. Could this happen to you? Tomorrow, a special Good Morning America investigation. Start your day good to go.
Finally tonight, one from the What Was He Thinking file. Prince Charles is already having a lot of difficulty with British public opinion about his upcoming wedding. Well, today, it got even worse. He was talking to a group of reporters when he made a comment that we think he thought they wouldn't hear, but they did. Here's ABC's Mike Lee.
When Prince Charles posed with his sons at a ski resort today, he had a golden opportunity to generate some much-needed good news. His wedding next week to Camilla Parker Bowles is already a public relations nightmare. They cannot marry in the church because they're both divorced. Charles's mother, the Queen, is not attending the civil ceremony. And a church official says Charles should apologize for committing adultery. So today, Charles agreed to take questions about his wedding.
Can I ask you how in particular Princes William and Harry are feeling at the prospect of the marriage?
Very happy. Very pleased. Be a good day.
So far, so good. Then,
Prince Charles, how are you feeling?
Well, it's a very nice thought, isn't it? I'm very glad you heard of it anyway.
Then the prince got angry and said something he thought would not be heard.
Bloody people. I can't bear that. He's so rude.
In case you didn't hear that, he said, bloody people. I can't bear that man. He's so awful. He really is. He went on to say, I hate these people, meaning the press. Friction with the media is legendary. Princess Diana felt she was hounded. Princes William and Harry are often stalked by photographers. Today might have been a good photo op, but instead the royals are back on the defensive because of one little whisper about those bloody people. Mike Lee, ABC News, London.
And who knew Mike Lee could read lips? That's World News Tonight for this Thursday. Tomorrow on the program, the Person of the Week. I'm Bob Woodruff for Peter Jennings and all of us here at ABC News. Have a good evening. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. It started as girls' night out for these two friends. First, a bachelorette party with a male stripper. But by night's end, the stripper is brutally beaten right in front of their eyes. And you'll never guess who's accused of doing it and what's caught on 911 tapes. Tonight on Primetime Live.
The reunion you will not be seeing anywhere else. The cast of Seinfeld back together next Oprah. Tomorrow at 3 here on ABC 7.
Mercury Insurance has been making the pieces fit for your family since 1962. Mercury consistently beats competitors like these in head-to-head rate surveys. Over 3,000 local independent agents and brokers offer Mercury. When the final picture comes together, Mercury is the clear choice for auto insurance. Call 1-888-4-MERCURY or click on mercuryinsurance.com for savings, service, security.
My son, I have found where the wild salmon are.
You got a vision from your spirit guide?
No, I got directions from the Gordon's fishermen.
Looking for a tasty addition to Gorton's line of grilled fillets? Wild salmon from the icy North Pacific. Perfectly grilled and specially seasoned so you get the delicious taste of salmon. And I get a pair of these. Gorton's grilled salmon fillets.
Trust the Gordon.